Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by new Patreon supporter Richard. Huge thanks to Richard and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Richard has been struggling with a concept he's been trying with for a while now, so he reached out and asked for help. Richard wanted a cEDH deck where Platinum Angel was the win con. Quick side note, I am not an expert on cEDH. I have played a few games, built a few decks, and can hold my own at a cEDH table without feeling that I'm being run over. But I do not consider myself a cEDH guru by any means. Now, before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Platinum Angel is a 7-mana 4/4 artifact creature with flying. It also says we can't lose the game, and our opponents can't win the game. This shuts off a lot of shenanigans in cEDH, especially the ever-prevalent Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation combo. But how to get Platinum Angel into play, how to keep it on the battlefield, and how do we win beyond that? Originally, Richard had a Bant deck with enchantments that would keep Platinum Angel on board. So I tuned up his deck, adjusted his mana base, and added some good interaction. This took the deck list from being about $1,100 to almost $4,000. Fortunately, Richard is an MTGO player and uses Card Hoarder, a digital rental service. He pays a low monthly fee, borrows some cards from Card Hoarder, plays the deck for as long as he wants, and when he's done, he trades the cards back to Card Hoarder for a new deck. Or, if he chooses, he can purchase them from Card Hoarder. Additionally, cards like the original dual lands, which range from $200 to $500 for the cheap versions, are much cheaper to pick up on MTGO than they are in paper. That being said, not all cards are available on MTGO, and not all cards function correctly on MTGO. Fans of MTG Goldfish and Commander Replay often get treated to games ending suddenly because of moto bugs. Anyway, I suggested to Richard that he might want to go a different route with his deck. I suggested Kaalia as the commander. Kaalia of the Vast is a favorite of mine. She's a 4-mana 2/2 legendary human cleric with flying. Additionally, whenever she attacks an opponent, we may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature from our hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking that opponent. Kaalia is arguably the strongest ramp commander in Magic. In most games with Kaalia, I cheat over 20 mana worth of creatures into play. You can quickly overwhelm your opponents with that much advantage. But the interaction you play in a high-powered game of Commander is different than what you play in competitive EDH. Additionally, our usual checklist won't be used here. As a starting point for most decks, I recommend something along these lines. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. But that's for casual or even higher powered play. For cEDH, you want a checklist that looks something like this: 30 to 35 lands, 13 to 20 pieces of ramp, 10 to 15 pieces of card advantage, 3 to 5 tutors, 20 to 30 pieces of interaction, including stacks. I know that's a broad list, so let me break it down a bit. cEDH decks tend to focus on a single path to victory, with maybe a backup plan. The rest of the deck is centered around finding those win cons and protecting them. And because you have so much card advantage, you don't need as many lands. I've seen turn 1 Mystic Remora draw 12 cards in a single turn cycle. When you're drawing that many cards per turn, 30 lands is plenty. So, where does that bring us to? Command Tower, City of Brass, Gemstone Caverns, Mana Confluence, Arid Mesa, Marsh Flats, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs, Flooded Strand, Savai Triome, Plateau, Scrubland, Badlands, Sacred Foundry, Godless Shrine, Blood Crypt, Spectator Seating, Vault of Champions, Luxury Suite, Sundown Pass, Shattered Sanctum, Haunted Ridge, Bajuka Bog, 2 mountains, 2 plains, and 2 swamps. You'll note that only 2 of our lands come into play tapped, and one of them is Graveyard Hate. Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond, Smothering Tithe, Boros Signet, Orzhov Signet, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Conviction, Talisman of Hierarchy, Talisman of Indulgence, and Ancient Copper Dragon. Now, normally Ancient Copper Dragon isn't efficient enough to belong in a cEDH deck, but Kaalia gets around that restriction. Ancient Brass Dragon, Animate Dead, Rhea Dawnbringer, and Corpse Dance act as recursion in our deck. But we've also got the more traditional card draw in Wheel of Fortune, Wheel of Misfortune, Esper Sentinel, Demon Lord Belzenlock, Vilis Broker of Blood, Phyrexian Arena, and Dragon Mage. I've said this before on other videos, but Dragon Mage is amazing in Kaalia. Enlightened Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Burning Rune Demon, Rune-Scarred Demon, Imperial Seal, and Grim Tutor act as our tutors. Angel's Grace, Deflecting Swat, Deadly Rollick, Path to Exile, Damn, D-Spark, Anguished Unmaking, Kolaghan's Command, and Armageddon make up our interaction. Hushbringer shuts down Thassa's Oracle, and a couple of our cards as well, but more importantly Thassa's Oracle. Linvala, Keeper of Silence, is here to shut off Mana Dorks, while Silence and Rule of Law also stop most cEDH combos in their tracks. Kaalia gets to ignore them because we can cast a spell and then cheat a creature into play. Teferi's Protection, Flawless Maneuver, Mother of Runes, Giver of Runes, Avacyn, Angel of Hope, Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, Gift of Immortality, and Indestructibility all serve to keep our stuff safe from our opponents. Chance for Glory, Last Chance, Warrior's Oath, and Final Fortune combined with Isochron Scepter gives us extra turns with no drawback, assuming Platinum Angel's on board. Gisela, Blade of Golden Knight, combined with Tainted Strike, finishes off one of our opponents out of nowhere. Master of Cruelties does the same. Aurelia, the War Leader, should be cast if possible, otherwise we don't get the extra combat if Kaalia cheats her into play. Sower of Discord and Archfiend of Despair both help to close out games faster, while Gisela, the Broken Blade, and Bruna, the Fading Light, both offer some solid beatdown options. And since cEDH has so many low mana value spells, if we can ever get Brucella, Voice of Nightmares online, the game is basically over. Although we don't really have a checklist for cEDH, we should take a quick inventory. 30 lands, 15 pieces of ramp, 11 pieces of card advantage, 7 tutors, and 22 pieces of interaction between stacks, protection, and spot removal. So not bad overall. Okay, how does this deck work? We are the aggro player at the table, and we can kill someone on turn 1 with the right hand, but the hand would have to be perfect. Gemstone Caverns on turn 0, then land, Jeweled Lotus, Kalia, Mana Crypt, Lightning Greaves, swing out with Kalia, slam Master of Cruelties, kill someone. But I'm still giggling at the idea of having Platinum Angel, especially one protected with Indestructibility or Gift of Immortality, or a Mother of Runes works just as well, along with Final Fortune attached to Isochron Scepter. At that point, we take infinite turns and kill everyone with Kalia and whatever other creatures we happen to have on board. If you don't want to rely on the 4-mana enchantments to keep Platinum Angel alive, you could run Worldgorger Dragon and add in one more piece of interaction, like a Braid if you wanted, but with so many extra turn spells, I figured Richard would want as many ways to protect Platinum Angel as possible. I hope I don't draw the ire of the cEDH community. I really enjoyed building this deck, and if my LGS had more cEDH players, I'd probably build more decks like this. My paper decks are usually strong and consistent, but I never keep around any cEDH decks for too long because they just gather dust. So I pull them apart and use the pieces to build other decks. Do you have a cEDH deck? Who's your favorite commander? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Damon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Phoenix of Ice, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Brian, Josh, Sean, Alton, and Richard. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos often, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.